Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We're all having fun here. This is Loser Leaves Wrestling. This is the weekly Wrestle. Volume 22?
22 weeks.
Because each episode is a shock.
It's a new record.
That's the new cheering.
They're proud of us.
The Loser Leaves Wrestling Hall of Fame. Belongs there. Thank you all so much for joining us. This is Loser Leaves Wrestling, the weekly Wrestle. We're covering all things wrestling. All things wrestling. My name is Red Jefferson. I'm here with Roy Lazowitz. I have a new sound effect for you.
Oh, yeah?
It used to be, but now it's...
I like it.
I did, like it. Before the show, I went on and found a few new sound effects.
What was that?
It was just removed. It's never being used again. Never being used again.
What was
it was
the
supposed
name
to.
Of that?
It was called doo-doo farts. We're never using that one again. Thank you all so much for joining us.
It has officially become only for us.
It's fallen off the rails. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you so much for the likes. As soon as we start off, I'm going to give you guys something new for whenever you get a like. You can get one of these. You got the camera. You got the camera. We're doing so good today to start off. We're doing so good. I can't wait. I can't wait to dissect that clip. Cut that clip.
I don't know what to do right now.
No, we gotta power through.
I gotta clean the camera.
Oh my God. This is the weekly. A lot of things happened this weekly Wrestle. Oh
my God. A lot
my
of things
God.
happened.
What a funny way to start the show. We're doing a lot of great stuff. But it's the funniest thing I've never seen. This might go viral. This might go viral. I've never seen a spit take happen to the camera lens on a Zoom.
I'm so glad my microphone has this cover on it.
Oh my God. All the Monies is already in the chat. Welcome, All the Monies.
I'm so sorry. I'm so unprofessional.
Welcome, All the Monies. All the Monies writes, more fart sound effects, please. Got my ticket to AEW at the Forum June 1st. Let's hang out. All the Monies, let's hang out. We're gonna be in LA. Let's grab a beer if that's your thing. If you don't want to grab a beer, I understand. That's not. Let's grab a tea. We'll grab tea. Then All the Monies writes, spit take city. Laugh face. That was great. Honestly, this may be how we became famous. This may be it. I can't wait to put this on TikTok. It's gonna get it.
Here we come.
It's gonna be great.
Can you play that sound effect again? Now
that
I'm drinking water?
Only when we're getting likes. I played it 3 times. And that'll be a fun thing. It'll be a fun thing. We'll talk about it more as we go. But I did get a lot of new sound effects. We have to start talking about wrestling.
Yeah, I think I just broke my computer, so we better get it going.
Did you?
I don't know. We'll see.
Oh man,
well, it's a work computer.
What fun we're having. So we had Rampage. Let's start off with the Rampage talk, right?
Let's talk about Rampage.
Let's try to, for the best of our abilities, talk about Rampage.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the highlights of Rampage, maybe.
Yeah, let's just talk about the highlights. I think that's a good idea. I think everyone was hyping up this Ishii Cole match, which I watched, and it was good. It was a good match. I didn't think it was great. I didn't think it was outstanding, but I thought it was good. I like Ishii a lot. The finish was a little disappointing, I think, because Jay White got involved in distraction, and Ishii took the pin. I feel like we're heading towards a Jay White versus Adam Cole at Forbidden Door in June. But hey, they've got some time to make me care about it, so hopefully they do.
Jay White literally looks like Cole with a fake disguise. They just look exactly the same. I don't know. Ishii looks great, though.
Ishii does look great.
Ishii's look is amazing. I just love the way his hunch, his muscular little back, like it's nuts. But very happy about that. We also got to hear Hook speak.
Can we just take a pause for the cause? Can you vamp for a second? I need to get a towel.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
We
got to take a towel.
Hold on 1 second.
We got to take a towel break.
Have a chat.
Yeah, I'll have a chat with the audience. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to talk a little bit about Hook. Hook speaking. I think that's important to talk about. Hook doesn't sound like Kermit the Frog. Doesn't sound like Kermit the Frog like I was expecting. He kind of has I forget what he already said. He said something along the lines. So him and Danhausen are in the back. Danhausen has been trying to curse him. And then recently on Dynamite, he gets in the ring. He's just like, you won't be cursed by Danhausen. You will fight Danhausen. And then that's a pretty good Danhausen impression, honestly. Let me know what you think about that. But that being said, so when we had this past Rampage, we had Hook confront him because Danhausen took a bunch of chips and stomped him out, which is a deep cut to the one time that Hook had chips. I was giving the backstory, Roy, on Hook and the chips. And so Danhausen stomps on a bunch of chips. Hook gets in his face because he hates when people fuck with his chips.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's just like,
it's kind of dumb. But that's okay.
And then he says, and one of what it was good, less is more, and not to get over. Like, this was a smart way to have him talk for the first time. Yeah. Very little emotion. Want my attention. You got it.
It's good. I like his voice. I know we were concerned that he'd have a real Fatty Arbuckle voice. I believe
Fatty Arbuckle was in silent films.
I know, but his career took a turn for the worse for a couple of reasons.
For some other reasons.
But also, I think there was someone, I'm trying to remember who it was.
That's an error. Windows XP error.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That's some different stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good voice. I think you had predicted that he was going to kind of have a voice like this. No, you wanted my attention? Here, you got it. But,
no, I thought he was going to sound like Kermit, like, if you want my attention, listen up. My dad is Taz. We got some comments here. Brooklyn Bleak. Adam's Cole moves looked weak in this match.
Yeah.
Adam Cole. One the thing is, and I have an issue with this with some of the AEW wrestling. Adam Cole in NXT, they kind of forced him to work more of a smart little man match. Here, he's acting like Sammy Guevara, where he's doing all these strongman moves that don't necessarily make sense for his stature, and they don't look very good. I think he should be sticking to what brought him to the dance. Sneaky heel shit. Being he's very technical and he's very smart. That's what he is. He's smart, and I think he should wrestle more. Do you agree?
Yeah, sure. I don't know. I don't know if I agree, but I don't disagree with that. I agree with that, but I agree with Bleak's sentiment, and I also agree with your sentiment. He shouldn't be picking up Ishii as easily as he does. He shouldn't be like Ishii also doesn't really wrestle matches where people pick him up. It's all I mean, the only time he gets picked up is for a suplex, not for like the gimmick where he drops the guy on his knee and I don't know. It looks weird. Seeing Ishii take normal spots like that is weird. I want to see him just kick the shit out of people and get the shit kicked out of him.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. We got Brooklyn Bleak says it sounded like Hook stole Butcher's voice, in my opinion. And what? That's fair. That's fair. And honestly, it works better on Hook. Let's just be honest.
They're both New Yorkers.
We got Joe is in the chat. Joe,
hold on one more time.
Roy still is cleaning up. Joe, you missed it. I played a sound effect, and you could hear it again if you press the like button. You smash that like button, you could hear it again. That had Roy do a spit take, and it was a lot of fun. Joe writes, Hook is God. Can't wait for the greatest match in the history of the sport. Too bad the Hook push ends when he tangled with the great Danhausen. You're right. Joe's predicting that Hook is going to plummet down the rankings once he faces Danhausen. It's a very interesting take. Where do you see that feud going? Do you see them having a match?
I guess they have to have a match, and then they'll be. I think they'll be partners in some way. I do think that will happen.
You think a match, huh? I think this is leading up to Danhausen befriending Hook.
Yeah, that's what I think will happen.
But I don't think a match will happen.
Why? He said you wanted my attention. You got it.
Yeah. Doesn't mean I'm going to fight you. He has your attention.
That's good. Point.
Brooklyn Bleak says, well, the voice Butcher should kind of have. Actually, no, Butcher should not have a smooth talking Clint Eastwood voice. He should have no voice. Or if he has a voice, it should be like gravelly voice. Jesus Christ, Red. Got to do better than this. Joe writes, 100% agree, Red. Love smart Adam Cole. Plus, it's different than everyone else. Different equals special. Joe, you're going to get something special here. We have to something new and fresh. I got a lot of new sound effects. I don't want to play doo-doo fart again. Lego's breaking. Okay, stop. Joe then writes, Hook partners with no man. They are all beneath him. Very interesting take, Joe. Very interesting take.
Very interesting.
But anything else from Rampage that we need to discuss?
I thought my what do they call it? A DVR. It kind of screwed the pooch, so I missed
DVR
half the show. But I enjoyed Garcia Kingston as well. I thought that was a better match than Ishii Cole. I thought it was good. It's good to see Kingston just get a clean, hard fought win over a guy like Daniel Garcia, who's fantastic.
So I agree, but also we just gotta like. That's. Connor Riley says, I can see QT. Connor Riley's in the chat. Shit.
Connor.
Hello. I just did it for you because I can't find it.
Yeah.
But Connor writes, I could see QT in the factory messing with Hook and Danhausen's match, which leads to them teaming up. Very interesting. Very interesting.
But also, where's Tony Nese in all of this? He's been like scouting Hook and yelling at Hook.
Yeah, what happened to Tony Nese? Is he dead already?
Yeah, he's not dead. I mean, they just did a promo. They did a promo package for him on Rampage where he's like, hey, I'm tough, I'm Tony Nese, and Smart Mark is like, Tony Nese is undefeated since I've been representing him, which is hilarious.
I like that.
Yeah.
Good old Tony Nese. Hi, I'm Tony Nese and I'm the premier athlete. I'll have a match with you. We also got one of these. Thank you so much for liking. Is there anything else to discuss?
Not in this moment. I need to go back and when the episode becomes available, I have to watch the main event. I would like to see. I heard good things about
Jade versus Marina.
I
missed that, honestly.
Yeah. People in the chat, tell us how it was.
It was another DVR issue on my. Yeah. That's what I'll call it.
Yeah, we'll call it DVR issues.
We gotta keep moving on. And the more likes you get, the more Yoshi tongue sounds. We got to keep moving on, though, because we're at the news. Thank you so much for joining us on the news. Joe writes, Tony Nese is great character, but bland. What?
Tell me.
No. Joe immediately corrected. Sorry, great wrestler, but bland.
Oh, yes.
He's fine.
He's a good wrestler.
He's fine.
He is the perfect person.
He's
to be
very
in the role.
Athletic.
He should be fighting Hook. He should be fighting young wrestlers who need someone in the ring who can like work them through a match and get them more seasoned. He's perfect for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can't wait for his losing streak to start. All the Money's writes, yes, let's beers and cheers LA style. Just say where and when. All I know is Hinanos in Venice Beach. Also, I think the Hookhausen tag team is in store. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. I don't like the idea of Hook having maybe, honestly, for him to get a little bit more seasoning, get a little bit better. I don't know if Danhausen is the right one for that. But we'll see.
He's Martin Prince. Danhausen is Martin Prince.
Danhausen is Martin Prince. Let's talk about the first news item.
Let's do it.
Oh, speaking of Simpsons.
I'm in danger.
That's a new one. We're having some fun. Then Connor O'Reilly writes, the human resources line from Daddy Magic last night killed me. Yeah. Yes, we all love Daddy Magic. We're all big fans of Daddy Magic. Can't wait to see more. But we have to talk about the first news item, and we've already discussed it a smidge. AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. The whole joint show, Forbidden Door in Chicago. What is it, June 26th?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. June 26th?
At the United Center.
At the United Center. Anyone in Chicago, let us know. We would love to get your takes and maybe even have you on the show to talk about it.
Oh,
I want to start putting out feelers about that. If you're in Chicago, send us an email, loserleavespod@gmail.com, or reach us on Instagram at Loser Leaves Wrestling, or on Twitter, Loser Leaves Pod, or check out our podcast, Loser Leaves Wrestling, for all the newest podcast stuff that you need. And definitely check out our TikTok.
We should
also
have
that spit take from the start of the show. Oh, no. That's literally the first thing I'm going to do after this is cut that spit take out because it's gold. It's gold. What were you going to say?
I was going to say we should talk to our Chicago correspondent about that show, Donnie Rodriguez.
Oh, we should. Our other Chicago correspondent, Delia Diaz, who does not like wrestling. Does not like pro wrestling. But we could maybe see if she'll watch. We have Joe writes, Hook's character is that he doesn't care about anything. Him having a tag partner long-term is direct contrast with him. I actually do agree with that as well. But I do feel that there is someone that should tag with him. I think he needs more seasoning.
You can find ways to justify that.
Yeah. Because we can't have him lose.
Yeah.
We can't have him lose. And if he stays in the singles competition, not losing, he's going to be a champion, and he's not ready for that.
Wouldn't it be funny to buy Delia Diaz a ticket to that show? Like, we buy it for her, and she goes and takes notes and gives us her live correspondences. Sorry.
We actually just talked about this. We're going to be in Chicago the week after.
That is true.
The week before as well. But we have to start talking about this. So we said the New Japan Pro Wrestling is now doing a joint venture with AEW. So they brought out the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling on Wednesday. Tony Khan brought him out, screamed him out. And then the guy came out, doesn't say a word. And then instead we have two white wrestlers talking about New Japan and their allegiance to New Japan.
Sure.
I just thought it was interesting that they didn't have any of the New Japan native Japanese stars show up. They didn't even allow the president to speak or have a translator there to speak. I just thought this was a very lackluster way to introduce the show. We already saw Jay White. You've already seen Jay White. Why not some other star that we've never seen to really get us excited?
Sure, of course. Yeah, and I just also think, like, maybe their hearts are in the right place, but Tony Khan and the president of New Japan just shouldn't be on TV. They just shouldn't be on television.
No. Tony Khan should not be on television. I agree with that. We have some comments in here. Brooklyn Bleak says, when Daddy Magic yelled, "Whoa, everybody calm down," when he was the only one yelling and acting crazy, was perfect. Excellent job. This is going to be the new coin. Instead of coins, you're going to get this. That's a goose honking. Tony's in the chat.
Oh.
Boom. I need a boom chat for Tony.
Yeah.
I need a boom one. All the money says hook. By the way, Tony, check out the beginning of this podcast. We got a great spit take there. I can't wait to milk this for all it's worth. All the money says Hook versus Orange Cassidy would be interesting mix of styles. That's exactly why I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
That's
you would see it happening as a match or a tag team?
As a match.
Okay.
I do not see that happening. Not for a long time. I don't see that happening for a year.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
Right. They're marked. I marked them. Marked.
But a little lackluster debut, but we're excited for the show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What are you most excited for seeing from New Japan?
I'm just very curious to see, because by that point, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe that Kenny Omega will be healthy. So I'm very curious to see if there is a Kenny versus Kota Ibushi match on the card or a Kenny versus Okada match on the card. I'm excited to see potentially a Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. matchup as well.
Honestly, what would be cool is have every single match an interpromotional match.
It should be. It absolutely should be.
Right? That's what we think what they're going for, right?
That's what I would think it would be. Yeah, and then also on top of that, because you may be thinking to yourself, okay, but fellas, New Japan Pro Wrestling has no women. And you know what? That's a fair point. But New Japan Pro Wrestling also owns Stardom, which is one of the biggest women's promotions in Japan. Bring them over. So I would expect some like interpromotional AEW Stardom matches, not to mention the fact that like Toni Storm and I believe Britt Baker and Mercedes Martinez, all of these people did time in Stardom. So there's some familiarity there.
There is definitely familiarity. Joe, yikes. Turn that off. Joe writes, cool news on the New Japan collab, but does the casual American fan care or know about them? Hopefully they build them up prior to the pay-per-view, make the casual fan care. Khan doesn't care about them. That's a funny way to end that. Khan doesn't care about them. No, but the thing is, I feel that the majority of the AEW audience, not the majority, I'd say a little less than half, are pretty diehard fans.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe that this whole term, like casual fan, I'm starting to think it's a myth.
It's not that I don't want to say it's a like. Tell me what you mean by that.
I don't have a ton to back that up. To be honest with you, I don't have a ton to back that up. I just am starting to feel like in this day and age, there is just like you may say to yourself, okay, well, it's a myth, but like WWE has 1.6 million people to 2 billion people watching each one of their shows every week. And you're telling me that, like, between Johnny Knoxville and Jake Paul, like, they're appealing to, like, a casual wrestling fan. And that may be true, but I would go ahead and bet that a majority of their audience on a week-to-week basis are people who've just been watching the program for 15 or 20 years, and that's just their habit. That's just what they do now. And they're not wrestling fans. They're just WWE fans.
I'm saying the people that are watching each week
Yeah.
are not the casual wrestlers.
Yeah.
They want
100%.
to get the casual wrestling fans so they can have higher numbers. The thing is to attract you need more recognizable names or more relatable talent.
Yeah.
I do understand what Joe's saying. I just don't. I don't know if that's necessarily a problem because what it is going to do is going to bring more fans of New Japan to watch the show, which I'm sure there's already a decent crossover.
Well, let's also take a second here to remind everyone that in 2019, prior to the official launch of AEW, Ring of Honor, which was failing at the time, pretty much, and New Japan did a joint show together and sold out Madison Square Garden. So I do think there are a fair amount of New Japan fans because they already sold out Madison Square Garden. So I think between that fan base that was really excited about that show, and now you've got a fan base that loves the Hardys, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Adam Cole, plus the rest of the AEW roster. Sting, and that's somebody
Honestly,
made
who's Sting gonna fight?
Dude, you know what I thought?
Which
which is like a crazy thought. I don't think they're going to have a match, but I do think Sting and the Great Muta should have a showdown. Yeah.
100%.
100%.
100%. Yes, they should have a match because Muta could still go.
Yeah, but Sting versus the Great Muta seems. I mean, what, Sting and Darby versus like the Great Muta and New Japan Junior guy, maybe Kushida.
Maybe. Well, I can't wait. Oh, Kushida's going to be available.
Kushida's going to be available.
That's interesting. We have a lot of comments here. Brooklyn Bleak says Samoa Joe was translating for Okada when he was being wasted in Impact back in the day. So just use Joe again. Was he translating? Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
That's
my
awesome.
God. Did you know about that? So Okada was like the future like megastar
I did know
of Japan.
that he was a part of Impact, and they just
and that's what ruined
completely
it.
wasted him.
He was essentially the Green Hornet character. I guess the Green Hornet had like a cab driver or something. I don't know.
Hito.
Yeah, and that's who he was. And it
It was
was
Bruce Lee's character.
a
That was Bruce Lee.
disgusting. Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, and it was a disgraceful use of
100%. But the good point, Brooklyn Bleak. Thank you so much, Brooklyn Bleak. Then writes, I think Kota Ibushi is injured though. Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, well, so's Kenny. So who knows?
It's still it's 2 months away. Who knows?
I think maybe that's also why they pushed it out. I mean, it also has timing because New Japan has like a lull in their schedule around this time. This is like between their big, like I think early June pay-per-view and the start of the G1 tournament. So there's some time there. And also it's like a lull. It's post Double or Nothing, pre All Out, and you got to do something somewhere. So it's boom, right in the middle of it. It's good.
Very interesting. Joe writes, no, he got Tony still. Tony, if no Okada reports say he won't go for his wife's birthday, hold on.
If
No Okada reports say he won't go for his wife's birthday. What does this mean? Do you know this?
So I think I haven't seen this, but I guess what Tony's saying is there are reports that Okada won't be on this show because it's his wife's birthday.
Oh, I think he clarifies later. We're going to scoop around. Joe writes, that's okay. Khan doesn't really care about women much anyway. Woof. Wait, hold on. There's a thing here. Well, I don't want to wait. Well, actually, you know what? I was about to give the wrong, but I decided it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think he doesn't care about women. I just don't think he's a fan of women's wrestling, and I think he's forcing himself to try and, like, right now, especially, he's trying to be like, we need to push, we need to do this because people are on my back. But I don't think it's been on his mind the first 2 years at all.
Yeah, and I also, again, I have to do more research on this. I just read a couple of little clippets about this, but a surprisingly large percentage of American New Japan wrestling fans are women.
Yeah,
because of how hunky a lot of Kota Ibushi's a hunk. Nuts. Okada's a hunk. Tanahashi's like a daddy hunk.
This close to having a Kota's poster on my wall. This close.
Yeah.
We also got Brooklyn Bleak. Damn, really? Okada said he wanted to wrestle Punk or Danielson or whatever.
Oh,
we'd love to see that. There's that
Okada
as well.
Punk. Look out.
Tony writes, Okada's wife's birthday is the day after the show. Okay, that's the clarification.
Well,
thank you so much, Tony.
Bring her to America.
And then Tony says, that's all I want to know. It needs Okada. It does need Okada. It really does.
Absolutely. It's not
He's
like
the
a
biggest
full
star in New Japan.
100%.
Joe writes, I bet TNT and TBS want casual fans. They should try to cater to them more. Sometimes they focus on non-AEW indie history. That is a big barrier to most of the potential audience. I don't know if I agree with that, because I think that's just history. And like the rewards for watching the show make you stay with the show. And like, I know what you're saying. You're kind of equating it to like comic books. It's hard for the casual comic book person to just jump in because there's so much history. That it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. But once you get into it and you get those rewards, it's worth it. I think it's kind of a similar trade-off if they do it well for a longer period of time. What they're doing is a long build. WB is just like, we need your eyes now. So look at these flashing colors. Nothing happened yesterday. It only happens tomorrow. Right.
Like, here are some zombies. It's like shit like that. I just would love to hear, and Joe, I'm interested in hearing what you think here. I just would love to know what's an example of a way that a wrestling company can get the casual wrestling fan. Like when I see tweets, I don't listen to it. I don't even know how to listen to it. But when you see Vince Russo talking about like the casual wrestling fan, you got to get the casual wrestling fan, bro. He's talking about back in my day, casual wrestling fan. But getting the casual fan is like incorporating Jerry Springer and like Howard Stern characters and stuff into your product, and that takes away from your product. I think AEW isn't focused on the diehards as much as they're focused on the lapsed wrestling fan. They're trying to get the lapsed wrestling fan by bringing blood back, bringing back a bunch of gimmick matches, by bringing in the Hardys and Punk and Danielson and Sting and like all of these. That's who they're trying to get. They're trying to grow their audience through the lapsed wrestling fan in hopes that the lapsed wrestling fan will then bring in other lapsed wrestling fans that they know. I don't know if this is still a number, but when AEW launched, when I was still paying attention to the ratings, I don't care anymore, but when I was paying attention to them, do you? Interesting. Let's talk about it. AEW, yes, certainly the most people week over week were not watching AEW. However, the most people per household were watching AEW. Like families were sitting down and watching AEW, like full groups of people were. So I think that does make a bit of a difference.
I don't trust any of those numbers.
Sure. How do you track that?
How do you track that? We got Tony in the chat. Sting versus Jushin Liger.
Interesting.
I don't know if I'd want that. I feel like that's a clash of styles for me. Yeah. I would like Jushin Liger versus Bryan Danielson. Jushin Liger versus Punk. No?
No, I was just thinking Jushin Liger versus Danielson, I think has already happened. I want Jushin Liger versus someone who he hasn't wrestled, and Punk is a good example of that.
Punk is a good example. Brooklyn, we have to get through this because we have a lot more stories.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Brooklyn Bleak says, but WWE has Nakamura and had Kushida. CM Punk mentioned NJPW in his Pipe Bomb promo, and Ring of Honor NJPW sold out MSG, and AEW owns our Ring of Honor, so they should sell well in the States. I believe that.
100%.
Good point, Brooklyn Bleak.
They sell well in the States by themselves.
I'm not concerned about this being sold out. I'm concerned about getting their numbers higher.
Sure.
The event numbers, but the TV numbers. Yeah. I think that's what we're talking about. All the money's, if Kenny coming back from the hernia, they'll have to protect him in the match. I don't mind if just Kenny comes back and does something. He doesn't have to have a match for me.
I also think he's not going to come back unless he's ready to go 100%.
Yeah, that's true. Brooklyn Bleak, if AEW has to, they should cancel Dark Elevation and rebrand it as an all-women's wrestling show. I do not like that.
What part about that don't you like?
I don't like the idea of having an exclusive this or exclusive that, because then they're saying, oh, we have a women's show. We don't really need them on this show anymore. I think it should be pretty mixed every single show. But I appreciate what you're saying, Brooklyn Bleak. We want to see women's wrestling. And because that is a step down, though. Having the YouTube shows of women's.
Right, exactly.
Make it Rampage, if anything.
If anything, wait until you have a streaming service and do it on a streaming service.
Yeah.
So it feels a little more legitimate.
100%. Brooklyn Bleak. Oh, WWE wasted Kenta and also had Kairi Sane, too. Is she gone? Kairi Sane's gone.
Kairi Sane is gone. She's back in Japan wrestling for Stardom a little bit. Yeah. But also, ultimately, don't you want to see CM Punk versus Kenta? Like, Kenta created the Go to Sleep. Honestly, CM Punk stole it from Kenta.
That is actually that match I think I'd want to see the most. Yeah. Joe writes, if they want the casual fan more, they just need to focus on their own history. Sure, bring in lapsed fan favorites is great, but don't make references to other companies' history that you can't show. And I get that too. I get that point because you can't show any of you can't show it. Like, I think you should a video, a picture.
Yeah. But of what though? I just like, because you can get access to Impact footage. You have all the Ring of Honor footage.
But their reference to old WCW things or old NWA things that they don't have access to. All the money, Jushin Liger versus Colt Cabana, please.
Oh, that sounds fun.
That's not bad.
That sounds fun.
Connor says if Kenny shows up but can't wrestle, it's gonna feel like RVD at One Night Stand 2005 when he was in the knee brace.
Yeah.
But it was nice that he was there. Joe, Prophet from January thinks everyone is as steeped in wrestling history like he is. Prophet from Jan thinks. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You're gonna have to clarify, Joe. Chica Marks is in the chat.
Chica Marks. Love it.
And we also got one of these. Chica Mark says they need kids to watch and get hooked. My young nieces love Downhausen.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Chica Marks. Everyone loves that.
But and also like it's another thing to think about too. Like as far as TNT and TBS, etc. Like AEW is usually in the top 3 or 4 on the night in 18 to 49, which is the audience that you want to grow in. And the reason why, if you took out, if you like for NXT 2.0, right? Like NXT 2.0's audience is like 60% over 50. That sucks. That's trash. And if you took them out, 200,000 people would be watching that show every week, and that's a problem.
But what I think that Chica Marks is right. I think you should focus on the kids a little bit,
sure.
Like because the thing is, you want those kids to watch in 10 years,
right?
You want to. That's when they'll be at the place where they're paying for things.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about the next thing.
We got to get into it.
For Christ's sakes. Next slide there, Tam. Thank you so much for all the work, Tam. Everyone, give a hand to Tam. Everyone. I love that sound.
Yeah, it's really good.
Sad news here. Jonathan Gresham is injured.
Is he?
Yeah, Jonathan Gresham was at Battle of the Belts and against Dalton
Castle. Yeah, Dalton Castle.
Dalton Castle. Sorry, excuse me. And Dalton Castle gave him one of them gut wrench suplexes, and he landed high in his shoulder and head, causing him to get a concussion. He has a concussion, and he's not going to be at Impact Rebellion.
Is he not?
Nope. He's been taken off Impact Rebellion, and he's taken off some indie shows. Hopefully, he gets better soon.
Yeah.
I know this is just an accident. Do you know if Dalton Castle having history of this at all with
Not that I know of, but I don't know a ton about. Yeah, I haven't seen a ton.
I like what I saw though.
He's
I
great.
Like what I saw. I like what I saw with Dalton.
Great character. That's funny. I'm glad you told me that because I was going to order the Impact pay-per-view tonight, but a large reason was for that Jonathan Gresham match. So
well, you could cancel that, and you could spend that money on our Patreon. Papa needs to get to Chicago this summer. Go to our Patreon. Thank you so much. But we have to continue. We got Brooklyn Bleak going one of these like A-okay, but I hope it's that Brooklyn Bleak. That sign's been appropriated. We have to keep going. Next up, another injury. Next slide there, Tam. Darius Martin. Darius Martin, the reason he wasn't at this past Dynamite, when there was that 3-man, and we're like, what is Brock Anderson doing here?
Yeah, right.
It's because Darius Martin is injured. He has another leg injury, undisclosed. We don't know what it is, but we do know it didn't happen in wrestling. Those dirt sheet people think they know everything.
I was just looking that up because I was like, he tweeted something wild, and I don't remember what it was.
You really think you know what you're talking about, dirt sheets? I got injured in the shower. Thank you very much. I don't know how we got injured.
Yeah, but it had nothing to do with wrestling. Oh,
yeah,
well, that actually, the fact that it has nothing to do with wrestling actually makes me like a little sadder. Like, what is that? What happened? 100%. Okay,
makes me a lot sadder. But it's interesting. We're sad. It's very sad. Yeah, like he was just getting back in, and now he's got to be off, and it's going to be for a while too. Apparently, it's going to be a similar time frame, which stinks. It stinks. But honestly, like Dante, spread your wings.
Yeah, you got to do your thing.
You got to do your thing.
Got to do your thing.
And your brother's not going to be mad unless he's a jerk. Moving on. Next slide there, Tam. So there's an AEW tag team that's getting a lot of interest from WWE.
Oh my god.
So WWE has their eyes on a certain FTR. Last time they were there, I think DX like pooped in their bag or something like that on Raw 25. I don't know. They just got beaten up by a DX.
No, but you know what happened? I told you.
No,
I
heard the whole thing. I heard the whole thing. Yeah, but it's
Shawn
just
Michaels was a dick.
Whatever. But it's Shawn Michaels. What are we expecting? But the thing is, they're interested in bringing back FTR. I learned a little bit about the contract details from WWE. Did you hear about them?
I might have. Go for it. What do you got?
They were making $850,000 a piece.
Yeah.
And there was belief that they could have gotten up to $1 million if they decided to sign a piece. FTR, $1 million. And do you remember the way they were using them? Why would they give them $1 million a piece if that's the way they were using them? You know?
Yeah, I think there was a philosophy in WWE at the time. It was when AEW was launching, and they were like, we have to do everything we can to keep everyone away from everybody. And I think people do pay attention. Vince may not, but Vince pays people to pay attention to the internet and things that are trending and popular, etc., in the wrestling world. Howard Finkel used to get paid to read the dirt sheets, and he would write a summary and give it to Vince every week. So I'm sure there's people who do that now, who did watch Being the Elite, at least. They probably don't anymore. And they saw that like FTR was a big part of that. And like there's this huge groundswell on the internet for an FTR versus Young Bucks match. And they wanted to do everything they could to stop that from happening.
I agree. We have some comments here. Joe writes, sorry, I meant to say that they shouldn't show things that they can't profit from. Sometimes I think Khan thinks everyone is is as steeped in wrestling history as he is. The casual fan, by definition, is not. But again, I don't mind the idea of building lore. Sure. You know? Sure. Building lore, keeping lore. That's exactly what WWE does not do. Yeah. They have lore. They have everything. They have everything to show. Like literally they could talk about all these instances and have a very specific video clip or picture from that event that they could show people and build these stories with great video packages. They're not doing it. Nope. So I do like the idea of AEW at least using the history they have available. I don't think that they should frequently reference WCW or NWA or things like that. Maybe a little bit with people like Sting, but I do think that going too deep into things or going into New Japan. I don't like the idea of like talking about a bunch of things from New Japan that no one's ever seen, unless it's a New Japan co-produced show, which I'm fine with then. Like if you're having a feud with fucking whoever versus whoever, and they had a feud 10 years ago and you have the footage of it, sure. But just mentioning it and not doing anything to show about it, which is frequently what Excalibur does, bless his heart.
Bless his heart. Best in the business.
But I hear what you're saying, Joe. What do you think of that?
Well, I think I agree with you, but I also think that like if they did this once, and this is what's sticking out to me, if the Young Bucks are going to fight best friends, or not best friends, Roppongi Vice.
The breast friends.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh, what's Roppongi Vice? What is this shit?
sorry. When you said breast, I put that sound in, and then it just delayed for like 5 seconds.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, they've actually fought a bunch of times, and here's footage from them in New Japan fighting a bunch of times. Like, that's the type of stuff that you want to see. Like, I want to understand that professional wrestling, like, yes, there are different promotions, but it's still professional wrestling, and I want to see a history. Like, I want to understand a history. So if, like, Ibushi and Kenny fight each other, I want to see footage of them as a tag team in DDT. And then them as opponents in New Japan. Like, I want to see all these different things. Like, show me it, but you got to show me it. You can't just tell me. You got to show me it.
Yeah, I agree. Connor says, hope Darius gets better soon. That recent Top Flight versus Bucks match was fun. So much potential. I agree. 100%. It's real sad. Terrible timing. S is in the chat.
S is here.
I'm going to give you something else, S. Something new, something fresh.
S would appreciate the beginning of this show.
Yeah, I think he would. That sucks. Fuck that.
That's a good one.
Enemy spotted. No, that's for Redley 697. I was saving it for them. S writes, main event of Rampage was surprisingly good. Hope that you lovely fellows comment on it sometime. Would like to hear your take. We will give a better take once we have less DVR issues.
Potentially on the next Empty Arena.
Yeah, maybe on the next Empty Arena. Interesting. S writes, FTR's contract was about to come up at the time that AEW was launching, so they overpaid to keep them. Yeah, they definitely did. But check out our Empty Arena series. We'll have some more coming out this Monday and Tuesday. But excellent job. Anything else to cover here?
No.
But actually, there is something to cover with FTR. Next slide there, Tam. Bret Hart's going to be in their corner for a show in Boston called Big Time Wrestling is the promotion. Yep. And he's going to be in their corner against Brock Anderson, Brian Pillman Jr., with Arn Anderson in the corner.
Love it.
Hey,
Brett, how you doing?
The reason I bring this up is there might be a reason why he's not on AEW TV.
Yeah.
So there's word. So we were all assuming Brett is going to come back for the Owen Hart tournament in some way, form, or fashion. Maybe to be one I thought would be pretty cool if he was on commentary for the last few matches.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I think would be interesting.
In theory, it would be great. I don't know how good he would be, but I think
he's funny.
Yeah, he is.
He's funny. He's funny, and if he's just chatting with fucking Jim
Tony
Ross
and JR, yeah.
Tony,
Yeah.
it'll be fine. But also, he does care about it, you know.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Love to hear him talk about Owen. Love to hear him talk about. I'd love to hear him talk about technical wrestling. Like it's a smart move why they did that there.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to hear his analysis. But AEW has not put him on. Rumor has it that WWE has signed him to some sort of deal, possibly just to get him away from AEW.
Yeah.
I don't know why he would sign this if he knew the Owen Hart thing was coming around.
Sure.
But there's some rumor that he's working with the company, WWE, and a little disappointing.
It is disappointing, but like from what I've heard, it's lucrative. And if I'm Brett and I think about all of the money that all of my contemporaries have made because of Saudi Arabia and all these comebacks, and I never got any of that, and the WWE offers me like upwards of, let's say, like between $1 and $3 million a year to just sit at home to stop me, but I can still do everything else that I want as far as like indies and podcasts and interviews and tweets and all these things, and I can talk about whatever I want. I just can't appear on AEW television. Yeah, all right. Why not? I'll take over $1 million a year to sit at home and still be like, yeah, the WWE product sucks. FTR is great. I just can't appear on their TV though. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that new gimmick that Edge is doing is real bullshit. Like,
honestly, I like it better than House of Black right now. I'll be honest with you. But it's a little disappointing. I just thought
I want to see
maybe Tony Khan would match it. I wonder. I don't know.
Yeah,
I doubt that. He can't. He does have all the money in the world.
Yeah.
He does have all the money in the world, but he doesn't have all the money to spend on his little projects. All the money's rights. I appreciate that AEW mentions history. I think casual fans of other sports follow past moves of franchises or players in those sports.
Yeah.
Great point. Yeah. You're gonna get one of these. I was gonna use that for when someone's crying. I'm like. Joe writes, did WWE steal Brett from AEW despite FTR? Uh-oh.
I'm in danger.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what I was going for. I have a really great sound effect that I can't use until someone says bitch on the show.
Okay.
So, whatever.
We might have to wait until Wednesday. You know someone's going to say it on Wednesday.
Want to hear it real quick?
Yeah.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Yeah.
We're having fun. But we have to keep moving on. Next slide there, Tam. This is some WWE news, and it's more of just talking about a record that's going on. Roman Reigns is approaching 600 days as WWE champion.
Yeah.
And do you want to hear the breakdown of the longest reigning champs?
Yeah.
I have them.
Yeah, it's just funny because here comes, you hear Michael Cole, because this is what he does on every show. I never remember the numbers, so yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Well, do you want me to start from 10 and go down, or 1 and go up?
Let's start at 10 and go up.
Okay, so number 10, Superstar Billy Graham.
Really?
With 296.
Okay, all right.
Next up, Diesel at number 9 with 358. So that's almost a year.
Yeah.
Next, we have AJ Styles.
Really?
At 371.
He held the title for over a year?
Yeah. Nuts. Next up, we have
Randy.
Randy Savage at tied with AJ at 371. They're tied together.
Randy Savage, 85? 84, 85? Never mind. Don't worry about it.
No, it was probably later. It was probably, what is it, 86?
I would think it was WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 5, right? I don't know the years. I don't know.
Yeah, that's 86 to 87.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, no, it's 80. It's 88 to 89. Sorry, 88 to 89.
WrestleMania 4 to WrestleMania 5. Yeah, and then 6 is 90. Yeah, you're right.
Then we have Cena at 381. He's number 6.
I'm really curious to know what he's had so many reigns. That
You know
must have been 05. Is Punk?
Yeah. 454 at number 5. So Roman Reigns has beat him. Next up,
Hogan?
Pedro Morales at 1,027. A little bit of a jump there. Roman Reigns has to have it for another year.
He might. He might.
Over a year. He has to have it for another year and a half to beat Pedro. Next up, Hogan.
Okay.
At 1,474 days.
That's another
So
one where I'm like,
what
are those years? That was.
He has to have it for over 2.5 years.
Yeah.
To get to that point.
2.5 years more.
Yeah, than where he is.
Yeah.
Roman Reigns. Right. Then there's Bob Backlund at 2,135 days.
Insane.
2001. That's how many more years is that? That's he's out of 600. He has to do it for 3 years, under 3 years.
Yeah.
And then the last one, Bruno Sammartino at 2,803.
I
which
need to
is
know right now.
many.
Hold
Many
on a
days.
second.
I think that's like 5 years.
803 days. Is that what you said? 2,803.
2,803. Yes.
Yeah. Days in years and months. I need to know how long he held this title for consecutively.
That's like 7 years, 8 years. 7 years.
It is essentially it is 7.5 years, pretty much 7 years and 7 months. Pretty much the entire decade of the 70s, Bruno Sammartino held the title.
I think Roman could do it.
I think he could, if it wasn't for Cody, he could. Cody's the
You think
only
he could
person who could possibly
Do you
take the
think
title.
he could go an additional 5 years with the belt, Roman?
Who's going to beat him? Who's on his level? No one. They haven't built any stars.
Brock's going to win it in a month or something. I don't know. Brock.
No.
We have some comments here. Excuse me. Joe writes, Connor writes, would have been great to have Brett, but it sort of keeps the focus on Owen. So maybe blessing in disguise.
Sure.
Not bad. And Martha's going to be there. They're going to show plenty of footage.
Oj may be there too.
And
Owen's
Brett's definitely given them rights to use Stampede footage or whatever. Like, I'm sure he has
I wonder
the
who
right.
owns that footage. Vince owns that footage.
I'm sure Vince does, but I'm sure Brett has the allowance to use it for his own means if he wants.
That's interesting.
I bet you that's the case. But we have to move on. We talked about that for way too long. Next slide there, Tam. Okay, this is a weird one. This is just interesting. You ever hear of the USFL? The United States Football League?
Is this a current football league?
It's a newish football league. It's new.
Wow.
It's a rival to NFL and soon to be rival of XFL. And there was a commercial for Raw and SmackDown during the show where it had SmackDown with Roman Reigns and Raw with Cody. And they're blatantly saying like Cody's the face of Raw.
Yeah.
Isn't that nuts?
That is crazy, but I'm into it. I'm happy to hear that.
I'm all for it, but it's just a little quick.
Yeah. I mean, who's the face of Raw?
Buy me a
if
drink
it's not
first.
him. If he's not the face of Raw, who's the face of Raw? Bobby Lashley?
Bobby Lashley is the number one face, according to them, is the number one face. But I don't think he's ever had the notoriety that Cody does.
I think Cody is far more marketable because he just has a better personality. Like, he's more outgoing and like a better talker, and there's a lot there.
There's a lot there.
there.
I just thought it was interesting.
That is
We'll
interesting.
discuss. Next up, can we go to the next slide there, Tam? Thank you so much. We got Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, you ever heard of her? She's pretty unhappy with WWE.
Yeah.
Having a lot of issues with creative,
Mm-hmm.
specifically how she was booked after the Elimination Chamber, where she was just there and we haven't seen her since. They apparently, did you see any of the therapy sessions with her?
I actually heard they were okay. I didn't see any of them, though.
Apparently, WWE lost complete faith in her after those aired.
Oh, shit.
After those aired, they're just like, nope. And they put her in Elimination Chamber that really didn't know what to do with it after that, so they just stopped using her. And she's apparently been very vocal in the back.
Yeah.
Not just the agents and wrestlers, but also to Vince himself. Good. I want her in AEW.
Sure. Yeah. Oh,
I
man. Do you
love
remember
Alexa Bliss.
Do you have
Little
any
Miss
memories?
Bliss is the best in the world. Best facial expressions.
You and I, when we were living at Trey House, was that sweet period when they did the draft again, and SmackDown was really good for that period of time.
Sure.
And Alexa Bliss was like a fucking champ. Like, she not only was the champion, but she was cutting these sick promos. She was such a good heel, and they destroyed her long before this whole thing.
I think the Bray Wyatt thing was one of the worst things that happened.
Oh, for both of them. For everybody.
I think that poor Bray was caught in this weird corner where everything he tried, they just kept nuking. I think he's a very talented guy, but they just kept nuking each new effort he had. And I think Alexa Bliss attaching herself to that was an albatross.
Well, we're going to talk about WWE nuking things when we do our new segment, because the person who I listen to, he brings that up. He talks about it.
We can't wait to talk. But yeah, I just hope she leaves, and I hope she goes to AEW.
Yeah.
I think she'd be a great get.
She'd be
Great
huge.
get.
Her
Huge.
dueling mics with Britt Baker, fantastic.
Nuts. And honestly, I think I will say this right now: Alexa Bliss, better than Britt Baker
Been a long time.
in wrestling and in character and in
long time.
promos. I'm just saying. Fight me. Next slide there, Tim. This is going to be a rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Rhea Ripley turned heel on Raw.
Oh, really? On Liv Morgan?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
I was thinking it was a shame because I like them as a tandem, but I do like the idea that Rhea Ripley is going to have like a singles push.
Maybe.
Who
knows?
There's talk of putting her with Edge and Damian Priest.
Oh, that's fun. That's a good time. I like that. That's good. We've talked about it all the time, but in any company, in any and every company, there should be more women and men together in stables. I would love that. I just think, especially in the women's division, based on what I don't know a ton, to be fair. I don't watch every week. But every women's tag team they put together, it's just a matter of time until one turns on the other, and it's really predictable and really boring. I'm tired of tag teams turning on each other in WWE. It's really frustrating because why bother getting invested? Like, I love Alpha Academy, but someone's going to turn on somebody at some point because they don't know how to just let tag teams naturally go their separate ways.
Just let them be. Or just let them stay for a while. Let them figure out, just like any other wrestler, let them find their groove. Let them
100%.
find something new to do.
100%.
It's still rapid fire, so no need to change the slide, Tim. DDP wants Sabu in the accountability crib. He wants him to take DDP yoga because he's like, bro, I was looking at these matches, bro. I'm doing Vince Russo, but it also sounds in my brain
thing.
like DDP. Because if he's from Jersey, Vince is from Staten Island.
Yeah.
It's different.
It's very different.
Very different. But they both sound like assholes. DDP.
Especially Paige because he's from the shore, too.
He's from the shore, which is basically West
it's
Staten
Philadelphia.
Island. It's West Staten Island or East Philadelphia, whatever you want to call it. North Jersey is the only real Jersey.
That's true.
But if you're from New Jersey and I meet you in Los Angeles, we're fine.
Right, 100%.
We're fine up until we go back into the boundaries of the state.
Yeah, 100%.
Let us know how you feel about that. But yeah, DDP thinks that he just reached out. He's just like, posted a clip of Sabu falling through something. He's just like, bro, you gotta message me.
It's true. He does.
It's true. And a last little piece of lightning round is Kevin Owens wants a celebrity match next year at WrestleMania. You know who he wants a celebrity match with?
Ezekiel.
No, celebrity.
Oh, Garth Brooks.
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, that's fun.
That is fun because apparently Matthew McConaughey is a big fan of wrestling, and he's just like, he was in an interview talking about Sami Zayn with Johnny Knoxville. He's just like, you know who I want? Matthew McConaughey. I'm calling it out right now. Matthew, step in the ring. I'll fuck you up. That's it. I'm excited.
I think that's great. I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn could do no wrong with any opponent, especially WrestleMania.
I hope so. I hope they do it. Also, smash the like button if you want more fun sound effects. And next slide, last slide here, Tam, is Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt.
Oh.
And this is more of a talking piece because I like to end these things on a little discussion. Bray Wyatt apparently has a pretty high asking price to appear.
Sure.
Apparently, according to his father, it's pretty high. And I was just curious, where do you see Bray Wyatt go? He's not done with wrestling. Where does he go? Does he go? If you're going to put Bray Wyatt anywhere, where do you, Roy, put him?
Am I thinking about money, or I'm just saying this is where he should go?
I'm thinking about where you think he should go to be the best impact, but also best for him all around. Where do you think his home should be?
You just said it, pal. I think he should go to Impact. I know that's like, oh, what? Like, oh.
Also,
Impact?
Realistically,
I know.
We said high
that's
asking price.
That's the problem, right? Like, I don't know. I guess back to the WWE then, because
you don't think he'd be good in AEW?
I think he would be. Look, that's tough. Because I think and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's going to sound bad, but I don't mean it in a bad way. He's too far gone at this point, in the sense that, like, if he had been released when he was still with Harper and Rowan, and it was the original kind of like cult leader thing, then like, sure, that would fit. That character would fit. but like the Playhouse and the
No, it'd be
it's too
completely
much.
different. It'd be completely different.
But do I think go back and watch. I'm sorry. Go back and watch Royal Rumble 2014 and watch him versus Bryan Danielson. That wrestler fits in AEW.
But he's a great wrestler. I don't think he's
is.
ever not been a great wrestler. I think people shat on him for a while because of how like lame how stale he became.
And that's not his
fault. Because of being overused and overexposed. I think he could do great. Nasty Martinez is in the chat. No, no, you're gonna get one of these and one of these. Smash the like button. We got 2 more smashes. Nasty says, I don't know how late I am, but I'm calling Okada versus CM Punk. Definitely be great. Definitely
you know what I also thought
we're
of?
Calling Kent. We're thinking Kenta CM Punk right now.
I thought it Kenta, yeah, and that would be great. However, you know what I bet? I'm going for it here, pal. CM Punk's gonna fight Kenta on a Dynamite leading up to that show, and Punk is gonna fight Okada at the show because Okada's the champion right now. Punk's gonna beat Hangman at Double or Nothing, and it's gonna be a champion versus champion match.
Not champion versus champion
No,
match?
but like it's going to be an exhibition match where the champion of one company fights the champion of the other company.
I do not see that happening. I see that happening for Ring of Honor and AEW because Tony Khan owns them all. But for New Japan to be like, for any of them to say, "Oh, we're going to lose,"
right.
I don't see it. Connor says Roy is right about the tag teams. Nikki Ash turned on Rhea, and a month or 2 later, Rhea turns on Liv Morgan. Yeah, not good. Not a good way.
How many people has Natty turned on? Natty's turned on everybody.
It's a monster. All the money says Alexa Bliss versus Britt Baker. Yes, please. You're damn right.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Gonna get one of these. Joe says WWE has a gold mine with Alexa Bliss. Another sign that they don't know what they are doing. You're damn right, Joe. You're gonna get one of these. You're gonna give a coin. Joe writes, she took the Fiend side character gimmick and did great stuff with it with her power.
Yeah, right.
Great character no matter what she does. Yeah, she's great. She is great.
Yeah.
Then S says AEW needs to add women to their factions in general. I like the idea of Maria Shafir in the Blackpool Combat Club.
That's a good idea.
I like the idea of Layla Hirsch and Team Taz, or Marina in Team Taz.
You got to see. I don't know. Marina Shafir. I don't know.
I don't like that. I think
she could fit in a few different places.
I think the Blackpool Combat Club should be kept very small.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want it to become a place where, like, oh, you're kind of similar. Let's throw them in.
But I do think there should be, if you're going to put a woman in a faction, it would be sick to have a woman in that. Imagine a woman with the seal of approval of Regal, Daniel. And that person, by the way, if you're going to do that, is champion.
You know who would be perfect for it?
Card. Who?
Shayna Baszler.
Sure. Oh, of course.
Shayna Baszler belongs there. All the money's right. I thought they said Andrade's asking price was high at the time too. I'm sure it's high in terms of what he was getting.
I also got to think that, he actually, I think he had a pretty good contract, but I would also think that if you're thinking about, if you're AEW, Andrade, and this is going to maybe ruffle some feathers, but I would think Andrade actually brings more to the table than a Bray Wyatt, because Andrade has an international appeal and you can break into new international markets with Andrade, Penta, Phoenix as your faces of your company.
Andrade has a North American appeal, meaning Mexico and the United States. Bray Wyatt has an worldwide. People know who Bray Wyatt is. Worldwide. Well, they know who Bray Wyatt is.
Yeah, sure.
They don't know who Rotundo is.
Well, that which is and what also everyone's last impression of Bray Wyatt is like the guy who got lit on fire and the guy with the giant comical mallet and like all of this bullshit. Like the ring was red every time he wrestled, and maybe people like that stuff. I don't know.
I don't think that's how he's going to be remembered. They stopped doing the red thing. The mallet's pretty fucking dope, honestly.
I love you can't like hit somebody with it.
Crush their skull.
Right.
We got Nasty saying Kenta versus CM Punk, custody of the GTS match. Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
Joe writes, New Day is the only case where WWE didn't screw with them. Screw with the tag team. And that's true.
Pretty incredible.
It really is.
It's true.
It's amazing. Connor Riley says Deeb in the BCC. Yes.
Oh, that's it. That's it. That's it. That's the one. And her and Regal have a great relationship from training at the PC and all that
Let's
stuff.
fucking go, Connor. You win. You're winning here. She doesn't need it, but would work. It would work. It just would work. She doesn't need it though.
Man, that Philly street fight's gonna fucking rule.
S says, I think that you'll get where I'm coming from about Shafir and the BCC when you watch the main event from Rampage. I guess we'll have to.
I believe it.
Nasty says that would probably require her turning face, and I like her as a heel. Yeah, Maria Shafir should probably stay.
Shafir or
Deep
or Deep.
Yeah, both. Actually, Shafir, I'm not sure yet.
Continue being Deep in the Blackpool Combat Club, but now she's just merciless. She's
a professor.
She has to stop cheating. That's the only thing that changes, that she stops cheating.
I don't even think she has to stop cheating because William Regal loves to fucking cheat.
That is true.
Ever heard of the power of the punch?
Power of the punch.
All Money says that's a brass knuckles thing. He did brass knuckles.
Yeah. If anybody gets an opportunity to watch a clip of William Regal punching the Big Show with the power of the punch, the Big Show then bouncing off the ropes and falling on Regal and being knocked out and Regal losing the match, it's the best. Do that again.
The cartoon slip. That's the name of it. That's how it would sound when you hit. This is what literally happened. He hit Big Show in the head and then a slip. That's what happened. Totally agree. Aldemani says, totally agree. Andrade has appeal to AAA fans, and I've always seen AEW as this new bridge for AAA and WWE worlds. Not bad. I'm not mad at it. Conor Riley, Shafir showed potential last night. We'll report on it. Definitely check out Empty Arena and all the episodes of Empty Arena and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Anywhere you listen to podcasts. Anywhere. Nasty says, John Mickey do be biting people. John Moxley.
Yeah.
But do be biting. And then she corrected herself. Do be biting.
Do be biting.
He do be biting. And do I have anything fun for that?
You picked the wrong house, fool!
I don't know.
One eternity later.
I don't even know what I'm doing. We have to. That's the end of the news.
That's the end of the news.
That's the end of the news. But where are we going next, Roy?
We got a new segment. Tam, if you want to go to the slide for our new segment. This slide is called Kicking the Competition. That's what the slide is. This segment is called
Kicking the Competition.
And the reason it's called Kicking the Competition is because I have thought for my entire life, essentially, because as long as R-Truth has been doing the What's Up song, as he comes down to the ring, I always thought he said Kicking the Competition. What
did you think he said?
I thought he said Kicking the Competition. Passing the competition.
Oh, that's dumb.
So I like Kicking the Competition, and now because he didn't say that, it's ours.
Oh shit, we should trademark it again on a t-shirt fast. When we say Kicking the Competition, we're calling you out, other podcasts. Man, we're gonna have such a bad reputation in this community.
I love it.
We're making enemies every day. And this week we're gonna talk a little bit about you didn't know in the Road Dogg podcast. And I'll tell you right now, I listened to 2 episodes.
You listened to both episodes?
Oh, but I ended about 15 minutes in on both. I could not make it. Want to why? Tell me what your thoughts are, and I'll jump in.
So I went through it. I was like, maybe I wasn't like, I was also working at the time, so I think I was like 85 to 90% in. So that could have helped. But I didn't think he said anything completely egregious, but he did say some stupid shit. And I took some notes here. I'm just going to read you my notes and hope that I remember what I'm talking about. The first thing I said is, who's this guy? Ryan Katz, too much. He's too much.
Can I make a comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely blistering to hear. He is so high energy and so talky. And like, this is a show about Road Dogg. I don't care about your opinions.
Yeah.
I don't care your stories about being at the Performance Center. I'm not tuning in for that. I want to hear Road Dogg talk about things, and you're absolutely smothering him with words.
Yeah. Really quick.
He is talking so loud and so fast, and then Road Dogg, he'll just like, man, you're talking like a mile a minute here. I don't even know how to keep up. I don't know how to keep up with you.
I didn't listen to the second episode yet, but does he start this second episode with the same intro?
No, different intro, but just
like
loud.
High energy, like he's a ring announcer.
You gotta match the energy. Maybe bring it up a little bit. Just bump it up a little bit.
Too much.
Terrible choice in co-host. Maybe they're buds, and maybe
Yeah,
that's
they
why
are
they did
buds.
it. They're
They are
buds.
friends.
And,
Yeah.
and so I get his name is Ryan Katz.
Ryan
I get
Katz.
the fact that like they're buds, and maybe that'll bring out a natural rapport between the two. But you have to have a better broadcaster, and I got an idea for a couple.
Right here, bud. Right here. Yeah.
I think we would do a great job with
We
Road.
would do a great job with any of
And we
these
call
people.
them out. We
We do a
call them
great
out
job.
every now and then.
Yeah.
We'd be like, listen, Road Dogg, you're being a little racist. Listen, Road Dogg, a little bit homophobic.
And then I'll keep rolling here. He within 5 minutes of the start of the show makes a premature ejaculation joke, which I'm
Yeah.
like, of course. Here's Road Dogg, and then I guess they start saying, because the first episode's about the formation of the New Age Outlaws, and within once they start talking about it, within 5 minutes of them talking about the formation, he starts celebrating his bad habits by saying that the first night he roomed with Billy Gunn, he peed in their air conditioner in
Yeah.
the middle of the night. Which,
That's the stories I want to hear.
yeah, well, I also don't like, I don't know, whatever. We'll talk about it later, but
Toxic wrestling world.
toxic, and also him being like, yeah, I had too much to drink, ah, ha, ha. And I'm like, you have a problem. And I know you have a problem. We shouldn't necessarily be celebrating the fact that I get it, but I don't know, whatever. I'll
He's
get into
not
that
treating
later.
it like one of my finest moments.
Yeah, that is
He
true.
didn't mention
That is
at the
true.
Hall of Fame speech. I
Yeah.
want to hear about him pissing in a radiator.
Yeah, so do I. That is fair.
That's
Then
what I want to hear.
I wrote, Road Dogg is not good at jokes. He's very bad at making jokes. He calls himself out on it a lot. He's like, I just tried to make a joke there, didn't work. And then I also wrote later on, after he did it 3 or 4 more times, I said, I can't imagine a conversation with him and Double J. Because they're both just probably so bad at making jokes. And it's just that the conversations probably go nowhere.
Yeah, and honestly, because they're both trying to be on. But at least with Jeff Jarrett, he's trying to be on, and then Conrad's just like, shut the fuck up. You sound like
Right.
a nonsense person.
Right.
Say Colorado again. Because it's Colorado.
But Ryan Katz is like, hoo, 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 boy.
He's slapping his like Road Dogg was making like visual jokes on a podcast meeting. He's just like, yeah, that's my shooting hand. No one could see it because I'm doing a joke from Monty Python. It's about shooting hand or blazing saddles. Whatever.
Right. He's blazing saddles joke. Yeah.
And I just like, man, I don't care if you do bad jokes, but someone's got to call you out on it or just not laugh.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And I will say, I'm putting let's do a ranking right now of our competition. Who's best right now? Who's not? I'm saying right now, top of my list of what I listen to and I enjoy is probably My World.
Yeah.
Wrestling
sure.
podcasts.
Yeah,
Wrestling
for sure.
podcasts.
For sure.
My World. Putting Jim Cornette underneath.
We have a different kind of.
Have you listened to any
pattern.
Jim Cornette? He's bad. He's not bad. He's an idiot a lot of times, but also he's like him doing commercials is hysterical.
Yeah, see, I've never done that. I will say this. I will say I have watched, because they put the episodes on YouTube. I will watch the clips of it. Like Jim Cornette talks about this or talks about that. I will not listen to him review current wrestling unless it's something that I just like. Look, I'm not going to lie. I have an emotional connection to a lot of these people in AEW, and I get defensive when he's like, hey, this guy's a fat piece of shit. I'm like, hey, hold on a second. You're a fat piece of shit, first of all, Jim Cornette.
He's lost a lot of weight.
Hey, good for him. So is Joey Janela, but he still calls him a jelly donut or whatever he calls him.
He does still call him
Yeah.
Joey Jelly Donut.
But anytime, and I will say this,
or Jelly Janela.
which is like, yeah. And then I don't.
It's hysterical.
I don't like how he talks about Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is amazing, whatever. But, and I will say this to anybody. Jim Cornette is, to me, one of the premier wrestling historians. And anytime he talks about old wrestling, stuff from Mid-South, anything NWA, anything like that, I will listen to it because I think he, one, has a great memory. He wasn't all fucked up, so he remembers a lot of this shit. He also doesn't give a fuck, so he's not trying to cover for anybody. So I think what he's saying is, for the most part, really honest. And he's just got a great brain for all of it, and he knows
He does
all of it.
cover for some people.
Sure.
He does cover for some, because if he's friends with you, he'll definitely take it easy on you a little bit. But that being said, like, I just like, while I do not agree with 75% of what he says,
Yeah.
I do like hearing his breakdown and why he disagrees with what they're doing. I do enjoy that because I like the context. I like the context.
Sure.
But
I will listen to him talk about
yours?
Punk, about Danielson, I really like, this is a wrestling podcast, but it's kind of a wrestling adjacent podcast. I really like Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling, which is like, they're a couple and they're both comedians, but they're also big time wrestling fans. And they live in Chicago. They're based out of Chicago. Marty.
We should meet up with them in Chicago. We'll have a double date.
Sure. That sounds great. Are you kidding? That
Famous
sounds
wrestling
like a
couples.
dream. Yeah. Yeah. Colt Cabana's like one of Marty DeRosa's best friends. So I got into DeRosa through Cabana because they would do like a podcast together every now and then.
Interesting.
They're really great. And when Jericho has a wrestling guest, it is usually pretty good.
It's hard for me to listen to Chris Jericho because I have such a negative association with all of his words.
Sure.
Like I find him to be very pretentious
100%.
and very full of himself.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It's hard. But I do agree. It's probably good content. Let us know what your favorite podcasts are, not including this one because we are assuming you like ours the best.
Yeah, of course.
We pray to God you like ours the best.
Just a few more notes about the show. I took a bunch of notes. Why is Honky Tonk Man
you didn't
on?
know.
Yeah. I wrote this as just like a fact that like I knew that this existed, but it kind of just hit me in the moment. Why was Honky Tonk Man on TV in 1997? Like, what's going on here? Very strange.
Do you remember why?
Sure, I remember the whole thing, but I just was like, why are they in this position? Like, did they really think that like a 1990s version of Honky Tonk Man, like Honky Tonk Man passing the torch to someone else, was going to be like a marketable gimmick? I don't know.
They were throwing out Hail Marys,
They
were doing anything.
Yeah. When Brian Katz does the Blue Chew ad read, there was like a dog barking underneath the whole time. I mean, it was like intentional, but it really freaked me out because I thought my dog was barking and I got really annoyed by it. And then like 3/4 of the way through it, Road Dogg sneezes and they don't take the sneeze out. He just sneezes.
Awesome.
And that was it. And I thought he was going to talk because at one point Ryan Katz is like, "Right, Road Dogg?" And it's just, achoo. Like, that's it. That's what you hear.
I kind of love that.
Yeah, it was funny. It was a good time. He loves watching himself wrestle. He says he's really good at it. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I'm not listening right now. I'm watching myself wrestle. Ooh, what an arm drag." Even though at times he's also like, "I didn't know shit back then. I couldn't wrestle worth a shit." And I'm like, all right, well, what are you? How do you feel about that?
I think he has to shake the rust off. Sure. Like just like with Jeff Jarrett, like where you're just talking, just going way off topic, way off topic. Yeah. Everyone kind of has to adjust. He still thinks he's trying to be on, so he's making jokes like, "Oh, I'm the best wrestler," blah blah blah. Then he's just like, "Man, it's hard to watch because I fucked up that real bad." Yeah. Like it's just like it's a lot of over the place. I'll try it out in another couple weeks once he gets a little more relaxed and Ryan calms the fuck down. Can't take it. We have some comments here. Nasty writes, "Air conditioners do be filtering the pee." They do. They do be filtering it. Thank you, Nasty. S writes, add keeping it 100 to the list of podcasts to kick. Disco Inferno is total garbage and needs to get dragged.
Yeah.
We should definitely. I've never listened to Disco Talk.
We should kick the shit out of that podcast.
Brooklyn says, "When did Disco Inferno become some great sound of reason for pro wrestling?" In some alternate universe that still hasn't happened, Brooklyn Bleak. He's not. Right. I wouldn't call it that.
He's well, let's not get political here. Let's just keep rolling.
Joe Wright. Well, he's a big fan of control your narrinarrative. Let's put it that way.
I can't wait to appear as Disco Inferno.
He's gonna be Glenn. He doesn't own Disco Inferno.
Birdie.
Joe writes, "Love the new segment, guys. Can you review other wrestling fan shows as well? Steven Larson or Brian Zane? They are great, but you guys bring more fun." Well, I don't know if we want to attack people.
Yeah. We're all trying to make a living here.
I want to punch up. Yeah. I want to punch up.
Although, yes, I do agree. Brian Zane is fantastic. I do love Brian Zane a lot.
Yeah, we don't want to go back towards people we might like or might want to
them
to listen to.
JD from New York. Just kidding. You're fine.
JD from New York? JD Reynolds?
I don't know. Some guy. I don't know. JD from New York.
Brooklyn Bleak says, "Cornette's hate of Kenny Omega and saying AEW isn't pro wrestling, but their fans think that it was enough for me." Wait, what? Cornette's hate of Kenny Omega and saying AEW isn't pro wrestling, but their fans think that it was enough for me. I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure what that means either, but I agree.
Brooklyn Bleak says, "I only gave a Cornette a chance after his bashing of Hogan and his ridiculous lies." Hearing him talk about Hogan, Chris Jericho, he's constantly making fun of his wife for joining the march. And he's just like, he has no patience for that stuff. And it makes it a lot of fun. He does have these ups and downs. Him reading a commercial about the sleep commercial with the mattresses. He's just like, "You sleep out, you'll never wake up again. They'll have to drag your body to the curb because of that blissful sleep you've been having." It's so fun. We'd have Brooklyn Bleak says, "I only listen to Loser Leaves Wrestling and Sala Monster Reviews Podcast.
Oh, we've talked about Sala Monster before. We've seen him. We've watched his show a little bit. He's yeah, we'll talk about him.
All the money says Art of Wrestling with Colt Cabana. We like.
Oh, huge! Art of Wrestling with Colt Cabana changed my wrestling fandom. I figured out who every wrestler in AEW right now. I figured out who they were through Colt Cabana's podcast. So.
Yeah. 100%.
And they're all for free right now. They're all on all the major platforms for free. You just have to deal with some weird ads that pop up every now and then.
I'll take them. And also, All the Money's writes, Marty and Sarah are great. I'll definitely listen to them.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Joe writes, oh God, please don't listen to Cornette. Almost as bad as Russo, bro. I need to listen to that Russo podcast.
I don't know
tomorrow.
Find it. Where do
I
you
don't even know.
find
I
it?
think, isn't it called Pyro and Ballyhoo?
I think
That's
it's
an
called
old
like
one.
The Brand. I think it's called The Brand. And you know who else is part of his network? Shane Douglas.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Joe writes, everything out of his mouth is this sucks and I can do it better, bro. No Russo. Stop marking out for yourself. Talentless hack.
Well, the thing that's funny about Russo is that I've heard him.
I saw something.
Podcasts.
S wrote something about business of the business, and they retracted it. I don't know what that is.
Oh, there are some podcasts through I think Voices of Wrestling where they do one about the business of wrestling where they talk about the economics behind it and like ratings and what that really means and what kind of money they're generating and all that. I've tried to listen to it, but my brain gets lost with all the numbers.
Then we got Brooklyn Bleak says, why does it seem anybody who was a part of wrestling is attacking AEW? Bischoff, Russo, Cornette, Disco Inferno. I can tell you why a few of those are. Bischoff, because Tony Khan alluded to the fact that they're in a similar position to WCW, and it really hurt his ego. Eric Bischoff is just upset at Tony Khan. That's the only reason. Russo, because they haven't hired him yet. Cornette, because general dislike for certain performers of the company.
Yeah, but he also knows like that's what his audience wants, and that's how he makes money. So
Yeah,
he's
and
gonna do
also
whatever
the
he
bit.
wants.
You're right. It's a work. It's a work.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
And also he does, but either way. And Disco Inferno, who the fuck knows about
He
his
just wants
motivation?
attention.
Wants attention. Joe writes,
these
yes,
guys want
Jericho's
attention.
podcast is great. Great guest. I should listen to it a little bit.
I just pick the ones with the wrestlers.
Yeah, I guess so.
Don't bother
anything
with the ones with like midnight movie monsters and stuff like that. Who gives a shit?
I do think we should listen to Disco Infernos next week. Maybe we'll have an idea. Disco
Why
Infernos
aren't we
or
listening
Russo.
to the Snake Pit? You said you'd listen to the Snake Pit,
said I'd
and
listen.
you got out of it.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, I'll try listening to the Snake Pit.
I
I just have no I don't
Yeah.
desire to hear Jake the Snake's voice
Sure.
for an hour.
It's Jake and
Him
DDP
and DDP.
and Conrad.
Honestly, that mix sounds atrocious. Those are the worst accents to go together. Honestly,
I have one last note before we move on to the Hall of Fame. We got to get out of here soon. I turned it off right around the time the Road Dogg was like, the Attitude Era, we were phoning it in a lot of the time. We were running real fast, going real hard, but a lot of it looked hokey, and we were really kind of phoning it in. It wasn't very good. And I was really happy to hear that because everyone who was in the Attitude Era was like, oh, best ever. Everything was the greatest ever. Perfect. Oh, someone rated it. Everybody loved it. It was refreshing to hear someone who was a key part of the Attitude Era be like, yeah, some of it was trash.
Honestly, and the way he said it, phoning it in, that's really what they did. I feel like the building up years before, like I think 1984 to 1986, WWE was pretty good. And then they started coasting up until 91. And then I think that wrestling 96, WWE 96 to 98 was pretty good. And then they start coasting from then on. A little bit of that. I do feel like once they get to a point where they're just like, oh, everyone knows our catchphrases and they like the things we can do, we're just going to do those.
Well, I think too, 96, it's a really, really good point you just brought up. 96, when Shawn became champ, when Shawn beat Brett, that's when they figured out what the WWE main event style is, the WWF main event style. That's when Shawn and Mankind and Shawn and Diesel, and then Brett became champion, and Brett and Bulldog, and then Brett and Austin, Shawn and Undertaker. That's when it like really started to blossom. But, other than the main events in the Attitude Era, for the most part, there's not a lot of good wrestling in the Attitude Era. Wrestling. And that's what he says, and that's what Road Dogg says, and I appreciated Road Dogg saying that, and that's why I had to leave. I had to go out, but I was like, I'm going to give the rest of this episode a chance because he said that. And we'll see how I feel. But, yeah.
Good point. I'm going to read a few more comments, and then we'll do the LLW Hall of Fame. We could probably move over to that Hall of Fame graphic whenever you're ready, Tam.
Yeah.
S writes, the Business of Business is a really good pod that focuses on business side of wrestling. Talks about ticket sales, indie shows, and interviews owners with indie feds. That might be interesting.
Is that with Brandon Thurston, or is that a different guy?
Yes, let us know. Brooklyn Bleak says, on Cornette's podcast, he said AEW isn't real pro wrestling, but their marks think that it is. And always calling Kenny Omega Twinkle Toes because of wrestling a blow-up doll in Japan and wrestling. Yeah, one of the things is he has a real hard-on for Kenny Omega. Yeah, I don't think he actually believes all of it. I think that he started making fun of him, and fans really liked it, made fun of him more. Then Kenny Omega started calling him out about it. Now he actually hates Kenny Omega. And I think he also hates those things that Kenny did, but I think he knows that he's talented. And he says so every now and then. He'll be like, listen, a guy knows something sometimes. Like, he'll do that. Brooklyn Break, Rio as a little kid, whatever. The 9-year-old. Says, did you ever listen to Straight Shoot with Aubrey Sitterson? I think this pod ended around 2017. It was almost LLW level. It was really good. Oh, bless you, S. Wow. Almost. I like that. Almost. No, I haven't heard it.
We know what we should listen to? We should listen to your favorite wrestlers, JBL and Gerald Briscoe's podcast.
Honestly.
With Al Snow as the guest.
Yeah, let's honestly. He actually heard some of that one. And Al Snow sounds like a 70-year-old smoker. It's nuts. All the Money says Jake the Snake should sing a Christmas album. I will sue you, All the Monies. We have to really keep moving on to the LLW Hall of Fame.
Poor Tam.
I don't have anything.
You don't have anything. That's good. That's good enough.
Okay. Who are you inducting into the LLW Hall of Fame this week, Roy?
There's a lot of good candidates out there, and I don't remember if we've inducted him or not. I like the fact that we don't keep track. I think it's very fun.
There's because there's so many already.
Yeah. I'm going to induct into the LLW Weekly Hall of Fame a man who has been doing this a long time, and maybe right now is the best. He's in the best shape he's maybe ever been in, and that's saying a lot.
Oh,
and, in a situation like his, some may wonder, well, if his family's leaving, wouldn't he leave too? No, false, because he's got it made where he is right now, and he's doing great work. Ladies and gentlemen, this week's inductee into the LLW Weekly Hall of Fame, Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes.
I will say I was going to pick the very same.
Wow, a double inductee.
This is the first ever double inductee. I think we're going to go into the history books here. The only member of the April 23rd class Hall of Fame LLW. I did that backwards. The LLW Hall of Fame class of April 23rd. The natural. Dustin Rhodes.
I got to write that down.
The only one. Brooklyn Bleak says, I forgot about Colt's interview podcast. They're great. I should check those out too. Brooklyn Bleak says, I never listened to it, but what about Ryback's podcast?
I listened to one episode very early on because Marty and Sarah it's like Comedy Bang Bang, but wrestling. So they do impersonations and they do bits and stuff. And Marty does a Ryback impression, and it kind of sounds like this. It's like wimpy Ryback. It's very funny. And they did a bit, and they talked about his podcast because he was like co-hosting it with a porn star, and it was very uncomfortable and very weird. So I had to listen to some of it, and I did, and it was awful, and I never listened to it again.
Cool. We also got S saying Thurston does WrestleNomics. That show focuses on a bunch of TV numbers. Business of the business is more focused on indie shows. Very interesting. We're going to check really both of those out. I'd like to hear those. But I think we did the entire show.
We did a full 90 today.
We did a full 90. Thank you all so much for joining this. This is Loser Lee's Wrestling. This was the weekly Wrestle 22. Wrestler and thank you to Bruce. That's a great improv troupe from Austin. I think they're disbanded. Maybe they'll come back one day. Call the hotline 201-574-7222. 201-574-7222. We want to hear your messages. We want to hear your suggestions. Give us feedback. We also would like you to check out Instagram, TikTok, Loser Lee's Wrestling. Check out our show, Loser Lee's Wrestling, on podcast everywhere. Also, maybe send us a tweet at Loser Lee's Pod or an email, Loser Lee's Pod. We want to hear it all.
Yeah.
Make sure to check out our Patreon if you want some special behind the scenes content.
It's true.
of us filming our podcast, or Roy's playlists. I think there was a new one out just
There was a new one that
2
just
days
got
ago.
that just dropped. There's some really, really interesting things on it that I discovered. So definitely
really-
check out.
We really appreciate all the Patreon subscribers and everyone just listening. I don't care. We don't care. We just want you to listen. We
Just
appreciate
listen.
it.
Just hang out
Honestly,
with us.
just hang out with us. That's all we want. Well,
Yeah.
we're friends. We're all friends
Yeah.
here. All the monies, definitely reach out to me. Loserlyspod@gmail.com so we could figure out how to meet up. If anyone else is going to the LA forum for AEW, let's all hang out. Let's all hang out once. All the money says, great show. Let's all hang in LA. I just said that. We're
Just
on the
said
same
it.
page.
Look at that.
Wow, what a fun time.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We're having such great fun. I hope everyone has a great time, right? Great things.
Great time, great week. I hope wherever you are right now, the weather is good and you get to go outside, take a stroll, have a nice time, maybe pat a dog or two. Who knows? If that's your thing. If it's not
If
your
that's
thing,
your thing.
just take a walk.
Yeah,
Or open
take
a window.
walk.
If you don't feel like it, just open a window, get a cool breeze going.
Oh, let's get a cool breeze. Everyone get a cool breeze. Brooklyn Lee says another great one. Thanks later. Bye, everyone. My name is Red. I'm here with Roy Hammer. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bonk.
3, 2, oh, bonk. Oh, I better get the bonk first. Keep this going.
1.
Olay.